Farina, right over there.
What was meant to happen did happen. I'm sorry. Give up, Farina. I'm sorry, but what can I even do? Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina, it's just us. Farina.
They even... Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people...
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are... That's against the rules.
Farina just ran off. Quick, we have to catch up with her. This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hide...
What?
Hurry, they're almost...
Fine, I suppose... I merely gave it...
Yep, that's...
What's happening?
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be.
Well, there's no need to...
Yeah, but the people of Poisson... It's true. I've tried, but we cannot make an enemy of the Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. Indeed. I've thought about giving up so many times, especially after we almost lost Poisson. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. The prophecy has only just started to come true, and so many people have already lost their lives. But just now, it all became clear to me. I still don't have the right to come to terms with fate on behalf of everyone else. As long as the final moment hasn't come, it's still not too late. Don't worry. I will keep hope alive for everyone until the very end. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play. Don't take any.
Come on!
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start. A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a spectator. If...
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the...
So, this is what it is. Yet, do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god. I see. It seems like you have made up.
Paimon can't believe it.
What the heck is going on? I just...
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the...
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Looking for excuse.
I raised my hands I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. It is You are not the only... But now, I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world. This time, I applaud and mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of
Woohoo! Oh, no! Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking the...
All right, then. Who will...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Also, please allow me to ask, just how much work did you do to force me onto this?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene and head to Poisson by your... So, we arranged for a second group to lie in wait.
So, you mean... the ones who scoured the settlement for...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic performance in all of Fontania.
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Aranias. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off... Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of us.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic box was...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence with...
Yes, that is correct.
Well Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion duelist in all of Fontaine. As for you, Traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me distracted with converse. You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the Oh? It's fine. It matters not. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial.
Madam Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up the proceedings.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, Leb Hymansi. Isn't this the exclusive? Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything. So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our journey as evidence for an argument. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, all right?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duels you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting... This is the first time Monsieur Nervillette had a difference of a Fatui Harbinger. The fortress... According to Monsieur the words of someone as extraordinary as... I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that's...
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervillette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my supposed... Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However, you will need more than that to convict me of a crime.
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right?
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make...
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. If you believe I'm not the Archon, and if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could be other ways to...
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
Neuvillette sensed it too, huh?
Lady Farina, is that...
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's not impossible.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being? Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the endemnitium that is used in every aspect of life.
To reference the Oratrice. But weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise...
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are natural...
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is while the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use...
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro...
The real Hydro Archon. Well, now you're really... It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally. And it has been operating independently. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no god at all.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the...
My power as an Archon. There are many ordinary citizens in the audience.
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the... Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you...
Isn't that?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still...
It seems like nobody's buying Furina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please don't I'm still the same, please.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be such, then what?
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. That doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't... It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper...
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, including those of some... So, Miss Furina, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the... Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler...
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess...
If Lady Furina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the...
Lady Furina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution, as it falls outside the realm of standard court...
Well, of course he had to tell her that, but refusing to participate is based...
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
What's going on? Is she really planning to...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Furina, you may...
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now?
Miss Siegewin? If you're present, Miss Siegewin.
Siegewin?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the...
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Furina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed... She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Furina, you may
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved. Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, We did originally prepare a direct sample of the serum. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample, and it's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Farina could have...
I can't believe... you... Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold and disdainful... Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an arc... Also, if I was really just a... Please, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your arc...
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked against her now.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left for Farina to win.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct, then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty, to be punished via the death sentence.
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth.
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Fache wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it!
Mm-hmm. Any mission, Father.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try and find—
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long— But has the trial already concluded? Then doesn't that mean I've come too late?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate. Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come here and confirm their—
Huh? So what do you see? What—
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro-Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro-Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Farina, and we've already proven. So when you say Hydro-Archon, do you mean the real Hydro-Archon?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents. The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro-Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans. Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids can turn into humans, then the second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro-Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them. This must be the point when the Hydro-Archon and the Fontanians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean the third slate shows the Hydro-Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people? Huh. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro-Archon crying on her throne, and so on. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was just a question of when and not if.
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontanians can— and the first stone slate tells us that long ago the Hydro-Archon used her power to turn Oceanids. This might be the reason that Fontanians can dissolve.
That doesn't sound... That doesn't... That doesn't...
Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin of the Hydro-Archon that Nervilette mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia, as recorded on the stone slates. It's not as simple as when Navia fell into the sea. Her consciousness was subjected to judgment. The
That doesn't sound quite...
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontanians to dissolve. It seems increasingly likely that the prophecy may come true. If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have gone very badly.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an ocean. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin... Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to... The stone slate's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know together... Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! But then it feels like... We're going to have to share...
Let's hear them.
Incredible! Linny, did you hear that?
We're not real.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial, all of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating...
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected.
Yeah! Isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a different power source. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since we only had 3 slates at the time, I was unable to come to a full conclusion. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within. If everything goes well, we should finally be informed of the unadulterated truth. I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to briefly summarize it for you. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the seven, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanid's blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into humans?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are human. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled?
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions. About the fourth slate, you probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that the prophecy was about. However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small. As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once. This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come.
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primal.
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root.
Way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the... And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessel.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontanians.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to recover its strength?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like this. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to stop the prophecy would be to find a way to...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically integrated with the sea itself. Even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off towards some other world.
That's not... We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle is some impossible foe. That's...
Indeed, that's not how a grand performance should end.
I'll fight it to the end, no matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy... Yes. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, ultimately, what's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina!
No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. The heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of... But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principle. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play under the curse I placed on her. So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human. Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, it's been 500, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, Oh? Who permitted you to come onto this stage? Now, all right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must... Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough. No, my sword! Let me leave you a burn.
This is where you fall. Laid bare.
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards! Rain outlines your fate.
Stabilize!
Overruled! Farina. Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where? Be not nervous. Be not afraid. Wait a moment. You're... mirror me? Mirror you. Mirror me. The prophecy. Have you... What prophecy? Wait. The people will all be... Oh. What's going on? Yes. But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontanian, just... Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat. Oh, so there's still hope after all. As for the suffering, well, I will admit that the first thing that came to mind was, why do I have to be the one? But if the prophecy will, if there were... I suppose this would also be the justice. Huh? Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has that's right. If you can... But don't worry. Being a human yourself, remember. So, how long to accomplish, but a trial, huh? The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession. But this is, what should I say, to most... Lady, I'm sure you've all heard about... In truth, I know as the god Focalor. Once again, this... I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to...
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just be a Maison-backed puppet.
Wait, what's going on? Right, calm down, Farina. Assertive, with a... Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership. What you may consider. Now then!
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were...
Her personality. It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, we have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be the scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its God. On one side, it must carry fairness and justice. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us light the fires and drink to the... There is no trouble in this world that... So long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese, so long as I stand before the Oratrice, I shall even judge the god...
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of...
Besides,
That's true,
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now.
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing to see me.
No need. All right.
He's...
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological report.
I see. It's as I thought then. As your all manner of Really?
I'm...
The day is finally over, but it's good to see that everything's... Maybe this is fine.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of the follow-up.
There'll be no need for that.
Lady Farina...
Indeed, my...
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. I feel utterly exhausted.
Lady Farina, it's like a dream being able to... I've heard that the first...
What is...
Are you crying?
This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god.
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then.
So interminable. Hundreds I never have I reached my... I want to die. All I can do is keep heart.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden, although I don't know what...
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from...
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still choose to confide in someone. Just share it with me. I'm what you'd call a witness.
Yes, I've heard that you came to... And if to that is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a spectator. She's right. I could confide, but if things don't play out as expected, the people of Fontaine will be the one... No, Farina. But what if... Farina, you've worked so hard for so long. Sure, is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide your frustrations and sorrow? If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am Farina. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance.
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her—
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most— It seems that trusting humanity—
I believe that I understand how your deception works. But that is only half the truth, is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine?
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the— I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine.
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the court. It now seems that that person was you, hidden with—
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes. Alas, your understanding of this device still— In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created—
I beg your pardon?
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice— I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the Oratrice. But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to Fontaine. The vast majority had to be accumulated.
It was all part of your plan then? Both the trial and the sentence?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it— But only power of this—
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent—
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
But—
Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign.
all you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked. Hydro Dragon, Hydro Dragon. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole— I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original— Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of— So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be— In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, just defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine. At this point, we, whether it be myself, Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an element.
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last. I now understand the true purpose behind this. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to... You are a devious one, Focalors. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Neuvillette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Iudex Neuvillette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling that some...
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume whatever happened...
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
Didn't you say just a moment ago that
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the... We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice. The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name is the all-devouring narwhal. Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution has come. Done my best to see from the way. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power with them. We shall look for an opening together.
Stabilize!
Transfixed!
I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility.
Solidify!
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. A chance will present itself. I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its roots from within.
Witness my rise.
Solidify!
Hear the echoes of the valley!
Rain outlines your fate. Huh?
Gather!
Overruled!
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but it was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they bumped into one another earlier than I thought.
That power. Who?
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. Skirk. It's just that he gave us the impression that she was the less talkative person.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the all-devouring narwhal without using power from beyond this world. So you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring narwhal. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk? I think you might...
The point being?
Well, being that this pet almost destroyed... So what sort of person is your master? Well, Child's master's master.
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, I assumed you... His name is Sir Taloji.
Huh?
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So Master is insufficiently famous. How should...
The fowl?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary? Vetterfulnir, then? Or Gold Rhindaughter?
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhindaughter's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names in time, but I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhindaughter. They're...
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person?
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the fontaine back on the surface has most... In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed to deceive.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Hey! Help! Over here!
All hands, initiate emergency rescue! Hurry!
Hey, lend a hand!
water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Are you alright?
Yeah.
We're saved.
The prophecy was wrong.
The soil renewed. The Svina Divasula attacks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited Poisson to meet with Miss Navia. Spokesperson, old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia stated. Hope is like seeing a small cookie when you're Skyship Winglet, Booner Brain of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have suddenly become a shield over the Institute, which people always call the first researcher mad, but few know what to call the second. And should that latter person achieve a miracle, they would find it all the harder to find a word with which to classify him and his team. Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really Jurier and Navia? They sound like real big shots.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The Steambird's idea was pretty simple. The value for these bigs, Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created
Paimon's Curie,
and that's exactly why I'd like you to come
are you sure?
Oh, this time will be different. Navia! Oh, it's you.
Hey, we're just having a look around.
I'm here to update myself on... let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snežević. He represented the Knave in sending us our residence...
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. I especially like that article you wrote last year about... But if you don't mind, could you not emphasize our role too much in your report? It's not charity we're doing here. We just happen to share the same...
I get where you're coming from.
That would be fun.
Oh, you're back too. How are...
We finished laying down the construction materials. It'll be another hour before...
Huh?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business with Miss Farina. So she's here in Poisson to wait out the heat. All right. She really came here to help me out.
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson. The Spina has need of more decision-makers.
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions? You know, about how you felt before the duel, about what it was like facing down a god.
Forget it. I'm sure you can find a better theme than that.
I see you're the same as always. Couldn't you do me a favor for...
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more photos of me. Or of the Traveler. It's better than wasting time persuading
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let her off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo, gather up.
How did it go? Was it a good shot? Did Paimon look...
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes to... Also, not to brag, but I'm...
Wow, you really...
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of Marib.
Whoa, you're well informed.
That's a very complete information chain.
In truth, all Monsieur Neuvillette asked me was, when did the fortress become so friendly towards the media? I told him that it was best not to speak too soon. There's no guarantee that Ridesley will make a...
You're right. I've got to treasure every moment I have with them. In which case...
Stay safe now. And tell...
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a realness...
Looks like you've been missing us.
Duke! Did you come all the way to the end?
Of course. I'm here to welcome you and our dear Miss Charlotte, whom our good head nurse...
It's an honor...
No need to...
Of course.
All right then, this way. It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her face to appear, but...
Sir, please don't say things like that.
But it looks like...
No, I...
Now, I might not look it, but I actually... The boat that... Still, if I...
Looks like Charlotte's trying to get hers...
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the bowels of our factory.
Really? Well, then in that case, could I have an interview with you to...
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps you'd like to take another photo of...
Did you really have to use the word couple? Well, then, 2 solo photos will do.
Is my hair messed up?
Things sure are getting pretty lively. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like...
Ah, Siegewin.
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Why don't you, sure. Come on, Miss Siegewin, over this way.
Huh? Sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been at...
Same old, as you can see.
Other than that flying ship, I got a tad...
That's why I decided to let the interview go through. We should direct more public opinions toward the behind-the-scenes heroes.
You're too kind.
I see. Lots of things happened that day, huh? Anyway, regarding that Harbinger, I'm not sure you remember, but his 3 young
He should...
I'll tell them that...
Oh!
What change can there be as to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed?
Hey everyone, the photo shoot's done.
Good. In that case, let's call it a...
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go.
There'll be a next time?
Maybe. Who knows? I might write a story about the underwater... All right, last stop, the docks. Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch with Linny and the others after working together. Apparently, they've been at the docks distributing these strange pockets the whole...
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte.
Would you like a magic pocket?
What sort of gadget?
It's a wondrous bag that can be used to carry many things. The water level has returned to normal, but if you see any of your things floating around, you can use this to carry them.
Trick a friend.
You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what you meant by...
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I...
Lynette sure is working hard to help Fremine socialize.
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist in our map.
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear as an assistant, and later Fremine himself.
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out.
Lynette, could you...
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of everyone the moment she realized I had something to say to you. Father said...
That's alright.
Oh, I guess you haven't... After Lady Farina left, Father and Monsieur Neuvillette opened negotiations, during which he gave Fontaine's gnosis to her as a... diplomatic gift.
A diplomatic gift? A gnosis?
Yes, I was quite surprised at first myself. But when I thought it over, it could have been done as an apology for the incident with Lord Child, or as thanks for his help in tying the all-devouring narwhal down. Furthermore, Father did also lend significant aid to Fontaine and...
Well, that's true, but this is a gnosis we're talking about.
I would agree, but I've also heard that it's...
So there's some reason for the...
I suspect you'll have to ask...
Isn't he real... But back to the topic.
They say that he's returned to Snesh...
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of...
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the traveler by chance. Please do not pay my accomplishments in Fontaine too much mind. I would have done them regardless.
Are you going to take the gnosis?
That is our duty as harbingers. Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or switching my masks is something. Well, that depends on many things. As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision? All right.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh? You...
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello. If I'm not mistaken, there are diplomatic channels I'll need to report to
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like about our The sea breeze is quite pleasant. I shall continue my walk while the...
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled...
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, Traveler, Paimon.
To move things about?
That's right. Funny. I was giving out magic pockets when we first met, too. And I guess this must be life. All right, then.
Well, guess we sent Charlotte off. Shall we go see how Neverlette's doing? As long as
The campaign begins.
The entrance to the fortress! Ooh, he really is there! So, you really are here, Neuvillette! I didn't think you were going to have free time this afternoon.
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. In any case, you can't.
Aw, Paimon's glad that you remember. All right, let's Whoa. So that's what happened? Focalor destroyed the divine throne of the Hydro Archon and restored your power to you. Transformed? But Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to save the Fontanians from dissolve.
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute control over the hydro element. Fontanians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordial sea, with constitutions similar to that of mimics. But so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant them true blood, after the fashion in which life was. In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontanians became true humans, and thus would naturally no longer be dissolved by.
Focalor must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the prophecy appear to have come true while saving everyone. Yeah, and in a manner of speaking, Focalor finally managed to fulfill the original Hydro Archon's wish to turn Oceanids into real people too!
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. I have investigated his case along many avenues, and I have learned that he once fell into an unknown chasm when he was young. There, by chance, he awakened the all-devouring narwhal. But whether it be by sentiment or reason, that should not have been enough to consider him the root cause of the disaster. At most, he would have had tangential liability. As for the judgment passed by the Oratrice during whether it was due to that liability by association, or Focalor deliberately using him to buy time for us on the assumption that he would be able to hold the creature off, I cannot.
Guess Focalor had Fontanians in mind the whole time. In the end, it was thanks to. Hang on a second. Paimon suddenly got another. Back when Fontanians hadn't yet become real humans, were the children they had also transformed?
Life has always flowed like water.
Yeah, Lynette said the fountain.
In truth, even those couples did not know that such prayers were no mere custom, but instead a form of ritual. Those Oceanids who were blessed within the spring water would later descend as new humans in the coming.
Paimon, sorta.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Yeah, about that. Risley said Farina has already.
Ah, Lady Farina. The people are only aware that her death sentence has not been carried out. She abdicated the post of Hydro Archon and left affairs related to that title to me, before leaving the Opera House. I related Focalor's words to her faithfully and completely. After hearing them, she seemed neither saddened nor comforted. She simply said that she was tired and needed to. Having said that, she then packed her things and moved out of the Opera House. Not unlike how an ordinary.
But she's still got a place to stay.
You need not worry. I will make arrangements to ensure that she will not want for food, clothing, board. In truth, I am somewhat happy for her. The wear and tear on her spirit will, of course, take time to heal. But now that she no longer has to play the role of Focalor the Hydro Archon, she can finally lay down her burdens and lead a normal life.
What about you then? What are your plans now that you've regained your full powers?
After Focalor passed on, the Oratrice also ceased to function. This matter will directly affect our trials. After much careful consideration, I've decided to take over its role in our courts. From now on, I shall hear cases and pass verdicts by my...
Looks like you're still considering stuff from the perspective of the Udex, huh?
As an elemental dragon, there are indeed many things that I must do. But this power and this duty, no matter... As such, before I attend to my other responsibilities, I must first and foremost continue to serve Fontaine as its highest judge. The duty of the Hydro Sovereign and the duty of the... Additionally, the Hydro Archon's departure has brought about another problem, which is that the Opera House shall no longer produce...
That's true. That power was derived from the people's faith in the Hydro Archon, wasn't it? Wait, but the various mechs and machines in the city are all still okay. Where are they getting their...
As I am now, I have full command over New Musia, and it can serve as a complete substitute. Another reason why I can't...
Wow. This ancient dragon's authority stuff is really quite...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Oh, that's right! They say you've given it to the knave as a diplomatic gift or something!
Leaving aside their intentionality, the two Fatui Harbingers have indeed done much for us during this crisis. Their sole remaining goal in Fontaine, at least at this point, would seem to be the Gnos. The Oratrice has ceased to function. The Hydro Archon's divine throne is now no more, and I do not need. As such, it has lost all meaning for Fontaine. If the Fatui have impure designs, then we might as well accede to their request now, and avoid unnecessary
What complicated considerations! Paimon thought you were just giving it to them out of gratitude to the knave and as an apology to Child.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume. I'm afraid that I have little talent as a travel guide, so all I can do is tell you what I know about that land. As far as I'm aware, Natlan can be said to be a nation of...
A nation of dragons?
No, I suspect that I would not find myself welcome there. Unlike ancient dragons such as myself, the dragons of Natlan have undergone long years of development and evolution. Large numbers of them have entered a form of coexistence with... Natlan is also the nation of war. War ravages those lands like an undying flame. There is one other piece of information I got incidentally from my negotiations with the knave that I believe may be useful to you. The harbinger known as the Captain has thrown his hat into the endless ring of war.
The Captain. Sounds like a real tough customer. Seriously, everywhere you look, there's a Fatui Harbinger dupe.
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlan. In the meantime, Fontaine's doors will always be open to you. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Hang on. When we spoke to Linny earlier, he mentioned that your attitude towards... We guessed that there might be some reason for it that...
No wonder the House of the Hearth is the Fatui's intelligence division. So regarding this specific issue, I was just getting ready to share some. In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on. You hurry over soon as well, all right, Nervalet?
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here. I can finally catch the scent of your power. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons, but with something very similar to a god's curse mixed in. I'm sure I've encountered something like this before.
I do not know what you speak.
Of course. You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
Remains? I've never heard of any such thing.
According to your parlance, I believe it may be called a gnosis.
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's divinity faded, she handed her gnosis, but I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner that you just did.
I've been training with my master, the Foul, ever since I was young, and I have never returned to the surface since. So most of the information I possess, it is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different sort of common sense. Which is why there are so... Regardless, you should probably get rid of objects of misfortune to prevent any disasters from befalling you. To live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies...
What do you mean by that?
No need to fret. These are just my... personal thoughts.
This third descender you refer to, who are they? And...
Master never mentioned them to me. If you're interested, though, I could ask him. I'll be sure to pass the answer on to you next time.
Next time? You believe we will meet again?
I do. Wait. I have a disciple of my own.
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful or not.
The remains of... So that's what the Gnosis actually are. Paimon just thought they looked like chess pieces. How could they be a person's...
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor at play, that...
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it, which is why you gave it to the...
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be putting Fontaine at unnecessary risk by keeping it here. I had guessed that you might already be familiar with this concept, but I did not expect you to be one of them. That means that the Gnosis, which are exceedingly element-compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities, do indeed come from the... I wonder, does your body also possess similar properties?
Like being able to use elemental powers without a vision! No, let's not think about this stuff right now. I just feel comparing the Traveler to the dead third descender and all. That's what you say, but this topic still feels like bad luck. Once Child recovers, let's get some more answers out of him. Or go look for his...
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information is lacking. The same is true of being at court.
All right. Whatever the case, it seems like the crisis here in Fontaine's over for...
Yes. All of Focalor's efforts were for this moment as well.
But she sacrificed herself in the end as a god, and she suffered through all those years.
I suppose that would be the mystery of a god's will. I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishes were like the clouds in the sky, they will one day return to the earth as raindrops. Life flows like water, and rain is the final answer. And what, ultimately, is the difference between the rains that fall upon all of us?
Solidify!
There is no escape!